Some brands are legendary. In every category, someone sets the standard, and some companies create raving fans. Join Scott Wozniak and Caitlin Johnson of Swaz Consulting as we dig into the tactics and tools behind great organizations. How did the legends do it? And how can you become a legendary brand too?
All right, Scott. So last time you and I were talking, we were talking about healthy leadership teams.
Yes.
And how to build that, how to enable that to happen. And you've got some ideas on how to create a culture that will support.
Yeah, I think I left you hanging. I was like, oh,
you did.
Don't do.
It was like a to be continued show.
Yes.
And we had to wait.
I know. Okay, sidebar that has nothing to do with leadership teams. No, we're a minute into this and I'm already tangenting. You know what like blows my mind? My kids are telling me their new favorite thing for a show, like a TV show coming out on Netflix, whatever, your platform is. They love the shows that drop weekly and make you wait. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the worst thing on the planet. I won't even read a series of books. If it's like trilogy, I'm like, I'm waiting until the third one's written. I'm not doing it. You're not leaving me hanging. But like, those were the worst. I hate it.
They were the worst. Yeah, those TV shows growing up.
They love it. They love the to be continued. And I'm like, all
I can see are the 3 periods after the to be continued. And they just keep
used to having things instant, full, available, binging it all at once, that they love the they like talking about the show and riffing with their friends. And I don't know, I have to confess, they have a point. I guess they hammered us. They pushed it too far. And so now I got burned. Really what burned me, this is maybe nerd alert. You might want to I don't know if any of this will make sense to anyone, but Wheel of Time burned me so bad. Wheel of Time is this epic fantasy series. Like we're talking 800,000 word books. I mean, epic tomes.
Oh my goodness.
And I got into them in the early 2000s when book 8 was out and 9 was going to come out. And I was like, surely book 9 will be the end of the season.
Right.
It took over 20 years for them to finish the series with book 14.
Oh my goodness. My jaw just dropped.
I refuse to be Wheel of Timed again. So, okay. And then I Wheel of Timed everybody with our last episode.
Yeah. But we didn't wait however many years, right?
I know.
Just been 2 weeks.
I'm under 20 years here, right? We're killing it. We're doing good. Just for our Gen Z listeners. We did it for you guys. Okay, so.
You're killing the millennials and you're killing me, Scott.
Sorry.
You're killing me.
Wrong demographic. Okay.
Right.
Here's what we do talk about. Healthy leadership teams. By the way, go back and listen to how important that is, how that last gear of the engine, the one I didn't think mattered, turned out to be maybe the most powerful. So when we're helping people work on it, the first most critical thing, the foundation kind of spine of a good leadership team, healthy-wise, is trust. It is all about trust. I mean, there's tons of content and books, and I'm not the first to say this. Everybody from Stephen R. Covey to Patrick Lencioni to Jim Collins. I mean, all the greats have just talked about, hey, listen, if you want to build a great team, the factor on how fast you move, how smart you are, how much you tap into the ability of the team, it's trust, trust, trust. And that's where most people stop. It's like, you should trust each other.
Right.
How do we do that? What does it look like? And so we're like, just be vulnerable. It'll be great.
Sounds like the worst advice ever.
Yeah, tried that. I think we've all had that moment in middle school. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. No, there's some things you probably shouldn't just put out there right away, buddy. Or we all have that friend where you're like, I really, really
oversharer
don't right now.
Right.
Yes, oversharer. So, but that doesn't mean we give up on it. And that's what I don't know how to do it. It seems like too much. Most of us cross our fingers and hope trust happens, right? It's like the weather, I hope it rains. I don't know. I hope there's trust somewhere in here, but we don't have to do that. If we really break down what it is, you can get tactical and deliberate, and you can drive the process of building trust in your teams. And so this awareness, the first step is, can you define what it is? Because again, trust is so vague. What do you mean by trust? And And so unpacking that and getting specific, then it allows us to say, oh, if that's really what it is, then there's a sequence of things you can do that take us from a team of people who, don't trust to deep, deep trust. And it gets really, really fun. So we describe this with a pyramid. So we have this content in our programs, but I think I can describe this visually. So just imagine a pyramid, big on the bottom, pointy at the top. And we talk about 5 levels of trust. And what are those 5 levels and the process that we go through and how we do this? Now, first, there's 2 kinds of trust. There's trust in your competence and there's trust in your intentions. And
okay, competence. You said competence and intentions.
Your skills, right? And your heart.
Yeah.
So the 2 are not the same. Again, you can't solve a skills trust problem. So skills is like, are you good at your job? Can you deliver? Can you do your stuff? And that can be a factor. Do I trust you? I mean, now let's just put it real simple. Like you might know people like, okay, but trust their heart. They've got a good heart. They care for me. They are for me, right? They actually are on my side and they mean me well. And I'm safe with the idea that the actions they're going to take are not going to harm me, might even help me. You might be able to think of somebody, maybe one of your aunts or a good neighbor who's a dear, dear, wonderful person. But you would not trust them to do surgery on you, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely not.
Sweet, sweet lady, cool dude. But I'm not giving him a scalpel and saying, fix it, Bob. No. On the other hand, you might know somebody who's super smart and they are skilled and expert and precise. And they're a jerk. And you would not be like, no, they're for me. And they're really good hearted. And and you can't solve one problem with the other. So know which area we're talking about. But as we talked about in last episode, rarely do I run across teams who aren't smart enough to do their job. When that happens, we should deal with it. But that's the stuff usually everybody knows. We have performance systems and measures and accountability. And if you got a guy or gal who just doesn't have the chops to do the job, and we can't trust them, like, hey, Scott, get that done. And he's terrible. He doesn't do it well. Okay, fix that problem. That's usually not the breakdown. That part is stuff we usually don't let those people on the leadership team. And when we do, deal with them. But man, what we've seen linger all the time is we don't trust each other's intention. We don't trust their heart. I don't know that they're for me and I don't feel safe opening up and I don't connect. And so what we're going to talk about today is not, again, you don't solve the smart problem, but the heart problem with smart skills. Like it's let's go over here. And how do we build this? I actually feel safe to open up, be real, get in their world, get them in mind, swap ideas, not be offended when they tell me my idea is not the best one. That whole process, that's the 5 levels of trust is what I'm talking about. So that's the first, which type of trust? Okay, then let me just map it out and then we can unpack what the implications are. It's pretty simple.
Perfect.
To find it. Okay, so at the lowest level, what we're talking about is knowledge. Well, actually, I should say on the side, going up the angle of the pyramid on the side is we have share. Share ... You share, and at the lowest level is knowledge. We share knowledge. Lowest level 1 relationship, level 1 trust. We know stuff about each other. I sometimes illustrate this. Listen, I grew up with Michael Jordan as the GOAT, and listen, I know those are fighting words for some folks, but I'm backing it.
Right.
The GOAT of basketball. And I know a lot about Michael Jordan. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure he has no idea who I am. I don't know. Michael, if you're listening to this podcast, call me, dude. We need to hang.
Please like the podcast. Right.
Thank you. Because I think I have a level 0 relationship with Jordan because we don't share anything, Caitlin. Doesn't matter how much knowledge I have about him. And you'll see I have experiences and all this other stuff that's coming. I have a lot of things wrapped around watching him play. But it's not mutual, so I can't say there's any relation. 0 trust.
Zero trust there, right?
We know stuff about each other. This isn't risky. It's pretty basic. Your name, where you went to school, what your job is. I mean, we know stuff about each other. And you can be very basic level 1, and then you can kind of up, and you're like, I know a ton about you. But if all you do is you have shared knowledge about each other, that's not much of a relationship. This pretty low level trust. You get to level 2 trust when you start sharing experiences. So you go level 1 is knowledge, level 2 is experiences. Now we're doing stuff together, right? we're hanging out, we work on projects together at work, or we go to a church event on the weekend, or our kids are at a soccer game together. And so it's like, I know that parent along the way versus like, oh no, we've sat through bad refs before and both like shook each other. I can't believe he made that call, right? Like,
Right.
really, my little princess would never push anybody. And so, yeah, yeah. So level 2 experiences start building more.
Experiences.
Still lower
So
level.
can these be like team building activities too? So you're going
Yes.
on a retreat, a offsite meeting.
Oh, trust falls, and
We can skip the trust falls, but
whitewater rafting. No,
sure.
I do this, Kaylin. I did, like, I was a leadership guy, and I would get teams together, and mountain like ropes courses and jumping
Right.
off of the telephone pole. I've done all, and you're like, why is? I mean, we bonded, right? We all thought we were going to die.
That's the joke, right? We're going to talk about our emotions in these offsite retreats.
Here's what happens. You're only at level 2. Yeah, those are high quality experiences, and it's still only level 2. We haven't got to the actual functional work stuff, which I'm about to talk about. So I'm not saying those are wrong, but the mistake I made, and a lot of folks in our space made, is back in the day, we thought that's all you needed, and now we trusted. Well, we went from
That's
knowledge.
right.
This person I saw in the hallways to like, we've had a great life experience together. We're only 2 of 5. Like, this isn't profound. It's not, the return on effort is low. And I say that as a guy who loves whitewater and all the banana stuff. And still.
I mean, it's a little scary to trust the team to catch you if all you know is where they went to high school and grew up.
Yeah. So you're putting some stuff on the line, right? Okay. So, but now we get to really good stuff, especially when you think about a work team. And level 3 is where we share opinions. We share what we actually think about stuff with each other. See, you can get this experience, and we don't actually have to open up. You want to really start getting even. And what you see is it gets riskier as you go up, right? Almost no risk to share basic facts. Experiences, maybe we're going to have a beer after work. That's not a big risk, but trust falls. Maybe we're risky. But still, what's even riskier than that is like, now, you think opinions, maybe if it's a silly opinion, like what's your favorite movie? I mean, everybody knows The Matrix is the best movie of all time. I mean, clearly.
No, Scott. Scott, my favorite movie. You want to know my favorite movie?
Please.
For whatever reason, Jurassic Park.
I'm sorry. There must be a glitch in the audio. Did you say Jurassic Park? I mean,
Jurassic Park.
It's a good, I give it a solid B+. It's a good movie, right? But like greatest.
They had a 20-year anniversary. I think this is probably 10 years ago, but they had maybe 7 years ago. They had a 20-year anniversary, and they put it back out in the theaters.
Oh my goodness. Were you
Listen to me geek out?
Were you?
Yes, I was a dinosaur nerd. Okay. Of course. I wanted to be an archaeologist growing up. Of course.
Okay. It's coming together. I mean, I liked dinosaurs, but I clearly didn't nerd out the way you did. Okay. So there's a little risk.
We're sharing opinions.
That's right.
We're sharing opinions.
Hey, you want to talk about risky opinions, right? You want to go to the trust fall of opinions? We could talk about the presidential election that's happening this year and what
let's not go there.
Candidates. And then it's like, oh, snap. I mean, these days, it's safer to talk about your religious beliefs and whether someone's going to go to heaven or hell than it is to talk about their political voting practice.
Absolutely.
It can get risky, right? Let's talk work. It can be risky at work to say, I don't think that's the right strategy. I think we should price it differently. I don't think she's ready for the promotion. Like the opinion conversation starts getting, that's actually harder to do than trust falls. We're much more vulnerable in a work setting that way. And so, and you can see it starting, and the pyramid is getting narrower because fewer and fewer people do you feel safe talking about your opinions with anymore. Well, we're not done. Okay, so level 4 is where we share our feelings. Not just what I think about it, but it's so instead of talking about the movie, it's talking about how the movie made me feel. Or talking about hard times in my life, or even some of my sweetest moments, the vulnerability when we get to feelings level. The pyramid's getting pretty narrow, and then you get to the tip of the pyramid, and level 5 is sharing successes and failures. Now, we used to separate these, but we eventually learned maybe it's just the Western culture, but in Western culture, it's just as risky to say like I was really awesome, like I crushed that, as it is to say I blew
It's
it. Like,
true.
you can't say that. Like what? Like and then we all immediately start mocking you.
Hmm.
And you're like, I mean, I'm pretty good at this. And like, if you're not five, we don't think that's cute anymore, and we give you a very hard time for it. And so,
Yes,
okay.
we do.
So what you see in this process is this narrowing. Now, this is important. We draw a line right in the middle of level 3, and we say this is the necessary level for a healthy team. If you want a healthy
Okay.
leadership team, you got to get to mid-level 3. Straight
Okay,
middle
let me say
3.
that back then. So if we're wanting healthy leadership teams, we need to work on levels 1, 2, and partially kind of lean
Yeah.
into 3.
Get comfortable with
which
some
is
opinions.
so 1 was knowledge, sharing
Yeah.
knowledge. 2 was sharing experiences together.
Yes.
And then 3 is sharing opinions.
Yeah, the good news is you don't have, some of you got really uncomfortable when I was talking about like feelings and failures and like, whoo, that's not a typical
Right.
team. I don't know if I want to do that. That's okay. You don't have to do that to be a healthy team. Now, I will say the few times I've been on a team like that, they are the
Mhm.
highest performing teams I have found. But now let me give you some of the implications here as we wrap up. The higher up you go, the harder it is. The more time it takes, the more effort it takes, the more I mean, it's not a guarantee, right? There's all the risk. It is more. It is worth it if you could get there with some teams in your life once or twice. It's so worth it. But at level 3, you're still a healthy, functioning team. You don't have to go all in. If that makes you nervous and you never had that experience, like that's okay. You can try that later. Just get to level 3. Because think about it. If you don't share opinions properly, you can't challenge each other when you're thinking about the right move to make, or, oh, I think we messed up. Why? Like you can't collaborate. And this is where teams break down. It's not they don't have the ideas in their head. They don't feel safe saying it. And because they don't feel safe saying it, they don't want to lose the respect of their peers or alienate someone. They're not going to receive it anyway. Why would I do that? And then they just bottle up their intelligence, and we don't get what the team can do. We get part of the engine growing and the other part struggling. So let me do this because I want to just give you a couple of nuggets, and maybe we can come back to each of these later. First piece of advice I'd say for folks thinking about this, go in order. You don't skip a level. This is why the oversharer is awkward, but you may have a friend who you can talk about with. The oversharer is like, hi, we just met. Let me talk about my embarrassing surgery and my marriage problems. You're like,
Yeah,
slow
too
down.
much.
Like, I just
Right.
wanted to know which grade your kid was in, right? Which one was on the
Right.
field. So go in order. Take it a step at a time. Don't rush. And then safety does not require similarity. We're supposed to establish safety at one level and then move to the next level. The immature way is make everybody agree with me, right? You have to agree that the matrix is right before we can move on. Actually, maturity says that we learn to respect each other without being the same. My
Okay.
wife does not agree on the matrix either. Sleepless in Seattle. What are you going to do? So, yeah, you know what? I've like, dang it, it's a pretty good rom-com, like that's
This is true.
so
This is true.
I have to not mock her every time she brings that up, or she's not going to talk to me about movies again. I don't have to convince her that agree and vice versa. We just have to be safe for her to say, I actually prefer this to that. And then we have fun with it. In fact, ironically, I think one of the few exceptions to this is our sports teams. We give each other a hard time for rooting for different teams, but we do so in a way most of the time where we actually still respect each other as people and colleagues. We need to be more like that, where we strongly have different opinions and still really respect each other.
Right.
And the last comment I want to say for the leaders, you want to accelerate this. You go first. You don't
Oh, I
wait for
love
your team
that.
to open up. You open up.
Yeah. Set the example straight out the gate.
Yeah, one level at a time. Don't go to level 3 first. But like if you're level 1, share a little more.
So
Invite.
you're saying on your Monday meeting, you don't need to bring all the feels.
That's right. That's right. Like, hey, I brought in my cousin who plays the timpani, and he's going to play music for us while we like. No. Why don't you just talk about
No
where you went to
kumbayas.
college or what you did on the weekend? Like, start, but you be the first to share. You be the first to open up your opinions. You be the first, and then you just invite them to meet you, and they may not meet you quickly. But if you go first and you go one level at a time and you make it safe to be different from you, then you can actually plan out, hey, what level are we at? And how do we take this team to the next level? And you can just drive to level 3. You don't have to cross your fingers and hope it starts happening. You can make level 3 trust happen and start unlocking the power of a healthy leadership team.
Thanks for sharing that, Scott. It was worth the wait to be continued.
That's right.
Thanks for spending some time with us on your journey to legendary. If you enjoyed this episode and want more content like this, you may want to sign up for our newsletter. You can do that and learn about all the ways we are helping leaders build legendary brands at swozconsulting.com. That's www.swozconsulting.com. Greatness is possible. You just have to build the right engine.